Happy Sunday and welcome back to our podcast conversation entitled Seasons. And as we celebrate a Sabbath, as we celebrate a Sunday here at Christ Redeemer, it is a very particular Sunday where we, as a parish family here at Christ Redeemer, mission Father Bryce to the good people of Morgan City at Holy Cross Catholic Church. We certainly, as we hear Father Bryce use words such as goodbye and thank you and I love you, each of us certainly feels that in a variety of ways. Father Bryce has been a real gift to our entire parish family, and just to publicly say, he's been a real gift to me personally. He has been not only a solid rock to lean on and a co-pastor with me here at Christ Redeemer, but he's been a dear friend and a trusted priest brother. It's a real gift to not only celebrate his priesthood, but to commission him, to mission him to now leave Christ Redeemer and to join the good people in Morgan City. More about that later on, but I think if we were just going to look inside our hearts and be honest with where we find ourselves here at Christ Redeemer, we would find ourselves in a season of change. And as we bring to conclusion this particular series, this particular podcast series entitled Season, the last season that we're going to peer into this week is the seasons of change in our life. We don't just go through one season of change. It's something that pops up over and over throughout our entire life. But change for some of us is exciting. For some of us, change is filled with the possibilities of what could be. For some of us, change is not necessarily as comfortable for us. Perhaps there's fear about the unknown. Each of us responds to change differently based off of the history that we have, based off of our experience of life in the past when things have changed. And each of us responds to the season of change differently, especially when we judge or label why is it that things are changing. Especially when we talk about on Tuesday how the season of change is going to feel in the personality. A lot of us may judge the season of change based off of what's happening in our life. One thing I want to say to us today with regards to a season of change. Now, you've heard me say this before when we talked about transition earlier, but I want to remind us of something that change usually begins when something ending ends. Again, you've heard me say this before when we talked about transition, but every season of change begins when something ending ends. And oftentimes our disposition toward what is ending and how it ends will very much influence the way that we look at what's beginning, what's changing, why it's changing, how it's changing. And that in itself will then influence how we either anticipate God to be with us or what we need from God when it is unfolding. So our homework today as we introduce a new season of change is to ask ourselves today, if you are in a season of change now, what was ending and what is your disposition toward how it ended? Or in the past, maybe the most recent season of change that you've had, what was your attitude or your thoughts of the way that things ended, which began the change, you might say, in your life? Tomorrow, as we unpack the season of change, we'll talk about how every season has a beginning and an end. We're going to go deeper in the beginning, and we'll talk about the ending of the season. Hope that you have a great Sabbath. Hope that Sunday and the rest of this weekend is filled with grace. Looking forward to being with you tomorrow. Let's continue to pray for Father Bryce as things change in his life and our life. And until our conversation unfolds this week, God bless you.